Working 40 hours per week is a complete and total scam. If you are still pushing yourself to work 40 hours a week, then you should stop immediately. What's up everyone? My name is Cody Engel, and I make videos all about the tech industry. If you are currently working 40 hours a week, go ahead and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Hopefully by the end of the video, you'll be convinced to stop working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, just because you were told that's what you needed to do. Henry Ford invented the 40-hour work week back in 1926. He did this because he realized working more than 40 hours only resulted in a slight increase in productivity. Oh, and if you weren't working every single day, then that gave you time to relax and shop on the weekend. You might even purchase one of those Ford automobiles so you could cruise around on Sunday. Prior to Henry Ford inventing the 40-hour work week, we had the 8-hour workday maximum. This meant that most workers were working 6 or 7 days a week. This was popularized by the Haymarket Riot, which was the result of a massive workers' strike in Chicago back in 1886. If you go all the way back to 1817, employees were regularly working 80 to 100 hours per week. Fast forward to today, and only tech bros and hedge fund managers are putting in those types of hours.
Yeah, I'm in the 3 comma club.
And the point of all of this is to say that as times change, working conditions change. In 1940, the 40-hour work week became US law, and 82 years later, it's still the norm. In the 18 and 1900s, the number of hours you worked was more or less correlated to how productive you would be. If you were a stonemason, then the more time you spent working on the exterior of a building, the more work you would get done. Likewise, if you were a factory worker involved with one step of the car building process, the more time you spent on the line, the more productive you would be. Today, it's not uncommon to spend an entire day just to write 4 lines of code. Likewise, you might spend 4 hours writing 2,000 lines of code, and it really depends on a number of different factors. Those 4 lines of code might be for a critical bug that exists because the system was poorly architected, and now you are backtracking, trying to figure out how everything works. That time spent is not time wasted, as you'll now have a better idea of how the larger system works on top of fixing that critical bug. At the same time, those 2,000 lines of code could be for a brand new system that you hacked together in an afternoon. This brand new system might not be the best architected, however, it gets the job done and will start making the company money immediately. While these situations are different, they're also similar. For starters, they are deep work activities. Deep work is time spent uninterrupted with complete focus on the task at hand. According to Cal Newport, the author of Deep Work, he finds that 3 to 4 hours a day of deep work 5 days a week can produce a lot of valuable output. There's a good chance that this concept isn't entirely new to you either. I'm sure you've had some days where there are no meetings on your calendar and you're able to get most of your work for the week completed. If you're a college student, then perhaps you only take classes Tuesday and Thursday to give yourself Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to study and work on projects. There's also a good chance that you have had some days with sporadic meetings and found yourself only able to respond to email and Slack messages. Those tasks can be thought of as shallow work, which are non-cognitively demanding, logistical style tasks that can be performed while you are distracted. If you want to learn more about deep work, I'll leave a link to purchase the book in the description just below the subscribe button. Another way that those tasks are similar is that they are reliant on how knowledgeable the software engineer is. Someone that originally worked on that poorly architected system probably could have fixed that bug in a matter of minutes, while a brand new engineer may never be able to fix it without help from another person. At the same time, someone building a system from scratch might complete it in 8 hours and it will be relatively well architected and maintainable. Another person might spend 4 hours writing a bunch of spaghetti code that gets the job done today, but will give others major headaches in the future. Both of these tasks also have a limit on how much time you can realistically spend on them in a given day before you need to take a break. This limit will vary from person to person. For myself, I found that 4 to 6 hours is generally my limit for programming related tasks, whereas with YouTube, I can usually grind away for 12 or 14 hours in a single day to complete an edit on time to upload. When I spend 12 hours editing a video, I tend to take the next day or 2 off from YouTube to rest and relax. For programming, I found 4 to 6 hours per day is fairly maintainable, which means that I am truly productive for 20 to 30 hours a week as a programmer. This isn't just random math either. I've actually found this to be true when I've taken 1 or 2 sick days in a week. I was still able to complete the same amount of work that I would have otherwise completed. The main difference was I had fewer days and hours to complete the work, so I forced myself to be more focused and diligent on where I gave my attention. The 40-hour work week that you are used to is not actually 40 hours of productive work. The average knowledge worker spends 45% of their work on their primary job duties. 14% of their time is spent on emails, 12% on administrative tasks, around 9% on useful productive meetings, 7% for wasteful meetings, 8% on interruptions for non-essential tasks, and then 5% is spent on everything else. I would consider primary job duties, administrative tasks, and productive meetings as work that is important to the company. With that in mind, in a given week, the average worker is spending 29 hours and 42 minutes on work that is moving the company forward, with the remaining 10 hours and 18 minutes on essentially useless tasks. That's over 1 day per week, or 535 hours a year that is just wasted time that you are never going to get back. Thankfully though, I'm not the only person that has realized this. A new bill in California would require overtime after 32 hours, which would effectively create a 4-day work week. Although this doesn't apply to salaried workers, and one could argue that hourly employees probably want to work more than 32 hours in a week. From my time working in retail, I am assuming this will mean workers will get fewer hours and will be forced to work multiple jobs to make ends meet. So while I would say this is a nice first attempt, I think California could probably do better. There are also companies out there like Signified that have adopted a 4-day work week permanently. The company specializes in fraud detection and needs to have people available 24/7. However, they found that structuring work around good communication and flexibility made a 4-day work week possible. I think it's important to focus on communication and flexibility because both of those can help you work fewer hours a week right now without changing companies. The only thing that should matter is your overall output. If you are a software engineer and are able to hit all of your commitments, it doesn't matter if you spent 60 hours or 20 hours to get there. All that matters is that you are consistent. Consistency builds trust with your team and others at the company. As long as you are able to ship working software and help your coworkers out during the day, then you should be free to spend your time however you like. Of course, it's easy to say these things, but actually implementing it can be a bit harder. You'll want to focus on reducing the number of time wasters in your day. If you are invited to a meeting without an agenda, then you should feel free to decline it. Use your best judgment, of course. An all-hands meeting without an agenda can still be important to attend, while one without an agenda from a known time waster should be declined every single time. Communication is a tricky one for knowledge workers because it's necessary but also pulls you away from your deep work time. Some people have found success by only checking email and Slack once per day. Others may find success by checking several times a day. Ultimately, you'll need to figure out what works best for you. I'd recommend trying to split up your calendar for 2 separate types of work. The first type being deep work, where you would want 3 to 4 hours of non-stop time to focus. I found the mornings tend to be the most productive because no one has had a chance to derail my day. At the same time, others have had success with focusing on their deep work after lunchtime. The second type of work is that shallow work, which includes meetings, emails, and other administrative tasks, such as company-related trainings. These should also be bunched together, as you can usually do them while you are more distracted. If someone schedules a meeting during your deep work time, then you could ask them to reschedule it, or if it's occurring at the start or end of your deep work time, just assume you'll get a little less work done that day. At a glance, you are still working 40 hours a week, and that's something I want to clear up right now. You would spend your deep work time actually working and getting shit done that moves the company forward and gets you recognized for promotions. This time is anywhere from 15 to 20 hours if you are blocking 3 to 4 hours per day. The rest of the time is spent on shallow work activities which can be done while you are distracted. Since many software engineers are working remotely these days, you're able to redefine what you are doing during the time allotted for shallow work. This means you could be playing video games while your work laptop is open so you can immediately respond to any messages from coworkers. You could also go for a walk with your phone so you can be available for ad hoc calls. You can even bring your work laptop with you just in case you need to jump into a screen sharing session. The 40-hour work week is a relic of the past. As knowledge workers, we are measured by our output and consistency to drive business results. For the most part, you can get an adequate amount of work done in 20 hours providing you are 100% focused. Building systems in your day to allow for that can give you additional free time to relax and even explore getting a second job. If you want to learn about how some software engineers are working 2, 3, even 5 full-time jobs at once, then check out this video right now. If you want to chat with other software engineers, then I'd recommend joining our Discord community. It's free to join. A link can be found in the description below. That's it. That's the video.